In this video, we're going to run through the basics of the Acuite forecasting feature. This tool integrates with Procore's financial module to sync the work breakdown structure and its associated elements, line items, job costs to date, and so forth. You can then create your forecasts off this information in Acuite and sync it back to Procore to update your project's forecast final cost. In this video, we'll be covering off where to find the forecasting tool, how it interacts with Procore, the basics around forecasting, syncing your forecast back to Procore, and how to lock off the dashboards once your forecast is complete. Before we start, please remember you can contact us at any time via the blue chat button located at the bottom right-hand side of your dashboard. Simply click it, then select Send us a message, fire it through, and we'll respond as soon as we can, which is usually within a few minutes. Okay, first of all, where to find the cost forecasting feature in Acuite. When you open Acuite, select the project you want to work on. In this example, it will be UAT Northwood. By selecting the project from this drop-down, you'll be taken to the project summary page. Next, select the cost item in the main menu bar, and then select Forecasting. Depending on the number of line items within the WBS, this could take 20 seconds or so to load. Okay, this is our table here. Right, now that we're viewing the forecasting summary table, you'll notice that these various elements match the column fields that you'll see in the budget view within Procore. We've chosen the key fields from the Procore budget view to show here, but any field and any budget view can be shown. The column names in Acuite can also be renamed if necessary. Now for the basics around forecasting. We suggest you click this icon to expand the table to full screen mode. What you will notice is that this table is currently grouped by stage, which is the default setting. However, you can change this view depending on your preference by clicking the menu icon in the top right-hand corner and then Customize Table. The various options here include grouping by cost element, cost code Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and cost type. Once you've configured the table to the view that suits you, it'll retain these settings each time you return. Also note that the order of the cost codes as they appear in Procore is how they should also appear here in Acuite. Now that the table is set as you want it, we can continue with setting up or adjusting a forecast. In order to do this, click the menu icon in the top right-hand corner, then select Edit Cost Forecasting to enter forecasting mode. First of all, here you can set the start and finish dates for the entire project by selecting the forecasting start date and forecasting end date. The tooltip will let you know what you're adjusting. The same goes for summary line items and also individual line items. Once you've set the start and end dates, then the table will populate the date range accordingly. As you can see here, the forecast end date is March 2024, which is the forecast end date on the table. Once the date ranges are set, you can move on to forecasting. You can set a forecast at various levels of the project, including the entire project, by clicking here, a summary cost code by clicking here. You'll notice you'll be told how many line items this forecast and amount to spread will be affecting, or an individual line item by clicking here. What you may also notice on the forecasting table is this icon here next to certain cost codes. This indicates it has no budget set in Procore. These can still be forecasted against in Acuite, but they will show a $0 budget. The forecasted amounts once set will be synced back into Procore, which we'll show you how to do shortly. Once this is done, the FFC will be updated in Procore accordingly. Okay, back to setting up the forecast. If you haven't set a forecast yet, you could distribute the entire forecast cost to complete over all line items by selecting the top-level spread function. The values will be populated across the line items, creating a lump sum amount for each month and the type of spread that you selected. So you can see our forecast cost to complete is here, which matches the amount to spread, and at this point we can spread that total across all of the line items in the project by either a linear distribution, front-loaded, back-loaded, S-curve, or bell curve. Once the spread has happened, you can change the lump sum values in any month for any line item by simply clicking in the text box and overriding it. If you do this, then you'll notice that the forecast balance remaining will change. You can also view and adjust these by percentage by clicking on the percentage toggle on the top. Again, adjusting any percentage will then affect the forecast balance remaining. The other ways to apply the spread function is either horizontally or vertically. To distribute the balance remaining horizontally, select this icon. The amount you want to spread, which defaults to the forecast cost to complete, followed by the type of spread you want to use. You can also change the dates here if you wish. With allocating costs vertically, select this icon. And you'll notice you can spread the total amount for that month by dollar value or by percentage. Again, the values will be populated across the line items, creating a lump sum amount for each month that is determined by the forecast cost to complete and the type of spread that you selected, linear, bell curve, and so forth. It's important to note that if you've forecasted at a line item level, then you use the spread function at a cost code summary or stage level, it will override your previous values. By doing what we have done so far, we have created lump sum amounts for our various line items. However, for the more advanced forecasting options, including the different types of allocations that are possible, click on the pencil icon. You can now see quantity-based and also time-related cost entry types here. First of all, at the top of the modal, you'll see the summaries. The balance remaining is the difference between the last synced forecast final cost, which has come from Procore, and your forecasted amount. This is temporary, as when this forecast is synced back into Procore, it will update the FFC and the balance remaining will be $0. You can also see the summary for the month and for each week. The way we allocate weeks to months is via the date of the Sunday. The lump sums can provide a starting point for the allocation of funds. You can then remove these if you wish and use the quantity-based costs or time-allocated costs if necessary. Unlike other forecasting systems that only let you choose one forecasting type, with Acuite you can build up costs based on different allocation types. A simple example may be to allow for a crane to set up. The lump sum may relate to the fixed cost setup fee, say $80,000. The quantity-based function could be used to allow for the concrete, say 60 cubic meters at $350 per cube. And the time-based feature could allow for 2 drivers and 3 dogmen for the following 10 months at a cost of $10,000 per week. You can add notes to any allocation. To view these, you do have to access them here. However, we will look to enhance this in the future and make them accessible on the dashboards. You'll see once you've entered quantity-based costs, time-related costs, and adjusted the lump sums, that the totals will adjust accordingly, as will the forecast balance remaining. Okay, back out to the forecast. Once the forecast has been set up, if there is a surplus or an overrun, then you'll see that in the forecast balance remaining and you can redistribute that or otherwise. Once you are happy with the forecast and you're ready to push it into Procore, select the button and push Save. Now for the final piece of this video, we'll take you through the Dashboard Lock-Off feature. The Dashboard Lock-Off function will lock the data for the given period to give you the confidence that what you report does not change. even if late direct costs attributed to that month come in. So once you're happy that your forecast is complete for the month, navigate to the More Actions button and select Edit Dashboard Approval. Select the period you want to lock the information against and select Lock Data. You can always unlock the dashboard if required, and you can view the history of who has locked the data. Okay, that's it for this video. Any questions, please feel free to reach out via the chat function at the bottom right-hand side of the screen. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.